Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. Welcome again to our webinar, which today we're going to discuss vibrant Vancouver and Canada's true West Coast. Joining me, of course, is Maritza Lopez, the travel experiences developer for Canada, and Anina Grasso, who is our Director of Travel Experiences Development. And also on the line is Joyce Chow, our sales executive. And on behalf of Destination America, I just want to welcome all of you this evening and thank you so much for your time. For many of you, I know it is the morning of October 30th, so thank you as well. And I just want to, start off our webinar as we often do and just remind you that Destination America, of course, does offer customized group tour itineraries throughout Canada and the United States. Mostly, I feel we are known for the United States, but we actually have a massive presence, including an office in Canada, and offer itineraries all throughout the country that are very special and unique. And Canada has continued to grow year over year in inquiries for us with our direct business market. And we have a lot of really exciting opportunities to share with you today. So if you see anything that you're interested in learning more about or getting a customized quote, please do reach out to Joyce for a quote, and we will be happy to put some items together. And of course, with the opening of the borders on the horizon, we may soon even be able to offer you both country itineraries to both the United States and Canada. So please do keep us in mind. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Maritza. Maritza, thank you.
Thank you. Next slide. Thank you, Georgia, and thank you all for joining us today. As Georgia mentioned, my name is Maritza Lopez, and I'm a travel experiences developer for Destination America. Welcome to Vancouver. It's the largest city in British Columbia and third largest in Canada. Their motto, "By sea, land, and air we prosper," reflect the three methods by which the city has prospered: their status as a seaport, their logging industry, and their growing aviation industry. We've taken a different meaning to it, and we'll show you how you can discover the city by sea, land, and air on your next trip to Vancouver. Access to Vancouver is made easy through Vancouver International Airport, located a short 26 minutes from downtown. Next slide. Servicing over 300,000 passengers a year, Vancouver International connects passengers from 125 destinations worldwide through 55 airlines. Recognized as the global benchmark of airport excellence, with more than 21 million completed passenger questionnaires, Skytrax surveys measure 39 elements in airport travel experience, including check-in, security, comfort, efficiency, signage, guest service, transportation, passenger amenities, and friendliness. Vancouver International is the only airport in the world to receive this designation for 12 consecutive years. In addition, the airport has also received the Skytrax COVID-19 Airport Excellence Award, recognizing those airports selected by passengers for providing the highest health, hygiene, and safety protocols during the global pandemic. With year-round access, when is the best time to visit Vancouver? Next slide. Anytime is a good time, and while temperatures may vary, each season has something different to offer travelers into Vancouver. Between March and May, temperatures average 8 degrees Celsius, and the city begins to look alive with residents kayaking in English Bay or strolling through Stanley Park. March is also the beginning of whale watching season, as thousands of whales follow their migratory route through Vancouver's waters. As weather in springtime can be fairly diverse with clouds, rain, and occasional snow left over from the winter season, layering is ideal. Think long sleeve shirts, cardigans, and jackets in case the temperatures cool in the evening. June through August mark the summer travel season, with temperatures peaking in the low 20s. You can enjoy an abundance of outdoor activities, special events, and even time at the beach. Chance of rain is the least likely over the summer months, although gray clouds are still common. Much like spring, layers are still ideal. A light cardigan or sweater in case of cloud coverage, tank tops, and t-shirts are fine, as are skirts, dresses, and shorts. Next slide. Between September through November, you'll see temperatures decline, averaging again 8 degrees Celsius. While not as warm as summer, you'll be treated to a fall foliage show of changing leaves in Stanley Park. Fall is the beginning of rainy season, so rain protective gear is ideal, as is warm clothing as temperatures are declining. Think flannel long sleeves, coats, cardigans, perhaps even some mittens and scarves. December through February mark the lowest temperatures for the city, averaging only 3 degrees, with the highest probability of rain. And while snowstorms are rare, they are possible. So come prepared and dress very, very warm. You'll need a coat or jacket, warm undershirts, boots, and closed-toed shoes that will hold up to any snow or rain, umbrella, pants, warm socks, gloves, beanies, and scarves. Because Vancouver is damp in the winter, it can feel colder than in some destinations that have lower temperatures. Most destinations have a few must-sees, and Vancouver is no different. So let's explore what you cannot miss on your next trip into Vancouver. A recent survey of Canadian cities by WalkScore gave Vancouver a walkability rating of 78 and declared it to be the most walkable city in Canada. Downtown stretches across 3 kilometers or a 30 to 45-minute walk. The city is definitely convenient to exploring on 2 feet. Next slide. The city of Vancouver is composed of a few different neighborhoods, and these are a few of the most notable. Steps from downtown hotels, Robson Street is a first stop for most serious shoppers, with its big new stores, funky independent boutiques, and lively ambiance. Most major North American labels can be found along Robson, but you'll also find a number of smaller, locally owned boutiques. Originally a warehouse district, the old red brick buildings are now home to Yaletown's chic boutiques, with sought-after loft apartments above them, home to some of the best seafood restaurants in the city, along with some gourmet supermarkets and cafes. Although Gastown still has a heritage feel, now it's all about what's new. The last 5 years has seen many of the city's hippest entrepreneurs choose Gastown as home for their new restaurant, boutique, gallery, or store. The vibe is relaxed and cool, so think creative types, hipsters, and musicians. Pictured on the top right is Gastown's most famous landmark, their steam-powered clock. The city's historic Chinatown reflects an authenticity of Chinese culture, food, architecture, and festivities. Although in recent years, Chinatown has become home to a number of cool boutiques, cafes, restaurants, and cocktail bars run by a whole new generation of young entrepreneurs. To be explored further in an upcoming slide, know that Granville Island was transformed from a desolate industrial land to an arts and culture haven in the 1970s. The West End is Canada's most densely populated area, with 47,000 residents in the community. However, the area feels more like a good times beach town than an inner city neighborhood. You'll find several beautiful parks and beaches perfect for a leisurely stroll. Next slide. While walkable, without knowing what to look for, you may miss out on a few hidden gems. If you're looking for a side of Vancouver that isn't often told or explored, the Forbidden Vancouver walking tour is for you. You'll explore Vancouver's dirtiest Prohibition-era secrets, from mobsters and rum runners to corrupt politicians and opium dens. This historical walking tour winds through Gastown's most historic streets and alleyways, and its most illicit stories. Each walking tour is a little bit different in terms of distance walked, but all of their walking tours fall between 1 and 2 kilometers. Their storytellers walk at a relaxed and moderate pace, and as downtown Vancouver is fairly flat, there aren't really any hills to worry about. Next slide. Vancouver is home to more than 200 parks, of which the largest and most important is Stanley Park. Only 10 minutes from downtown, the park welcomes over 200,000 visitors annually. The Stanley Park Railway is popular with locals and tourists alike. The 2-kilometer track winds through the forest over ground cleared by Typhoon Frida, the most devastating storm in Vancouver history, which blew through in 1962. As the world's longest uninterrupted waterfront path, the 28-kilometer Seaside Greenway, which includes the 9-kilometer Stanley Park seawall, extends from Vancouver Convention Center to Spanish Banks Parks. It's the most popular recreational spot in the city for walking, cycling, or jogging. Canada's Indigenous people are among the main traveler attractions of Vancouver, and within Stanley Park, you'll find a world-renowned collection of totem poles at Brockton Point. The collection began in 1920 with 4 totem poles. The 9th and most recent totem pole, carved by Robert Yelton of the Squamish Nation, was added in 2009. Next slide. Easily one of the most iconic and photographed landmarks within Stanley Park is Siwash Rock. While geology explains Siwash rock came to be thanks to a volcanic dike forming in the sandstone, legend says otherwise. Allow me to tell you the legend of the local people, recounted by Pauline Johnson, famous poet and performer. The legend says, thousands of years ago, a young chief married a young girl from the northern coast. Boy though he was, the young chief proved himself to be an excellent warrior, a fearless hunter, and an upright, courageous man among men. His tribe loved him, and his enemies respected him. When the day arrived for them to welcome their child, we must swim, they declared, for to them the old Indian custom was law. The custom that parents of a coming child must swim until their flesh is so clear and clean that a wild animal cannot scent their proximity. It was a law that he must be clean, spotlessly clean, so that when his child looked out upon the world, it would have the chance to live its own life clean. If he did not swim hour upon hour, his child would come to an unclean father. He must give his child a chance in life. He must not hamper it by his own uncleanliness at its birth. It was a tribal law, the law of vicarious purity. Challenged by gods to stop swimming and move out of the way of their holy canoe, the young chief continued to swim to purify himself for the sake of his family. The men were amazed at the chief's bravery and determination. As they decided what to do, the cry of a newborn baby was heard. The tallest of the giant men then told the chief that as a reward for his unselfishness, he would never die, but he would live on where all could see him, as an indestructible monument to clean fatherhood. When the young chief stepped on shore, he became the Siwash rock. When visiting, you'll notice a plaque giving a short snippet of the legend nearby, one of the many beautiful stories that we can come to learn from the local First Nations people. Next slide. For incredible views of the city's inner harbor and the Lions Gate Bridge, Prospect Point is the place to go. Having undergone a complete renovation with 2017 unveiling, when visiting the landmark, you'll find a truly and fully renovated building featuring a bar and grill, cafe, ice cream kiosk, and gift store. Next slide. Another location favored by locals and tourists alike, Granville Island has shifted from a manufacturing area to a hotspot of tourism and entertainment. Although a peninsula, you'll hardly notice as you'll feel surrounded by boats and water. In fact, one of the best ways to reach Granville Island is by ferry. Hop aboard one of the iconic Aquabus rainbow boats to enjoy the spectacular Vancouver skyline from a unique and impressive vantage point. Depending on your starting point, the ferry can take about 45 minutes. They depart every 15 minutes, so you'll never have to wait long for a ride. Otherwise, the driving distance is about 10 minutes from downtown. One of the main attractions of Granville Island is their public market. The 6 buildings that make up the public market once housed companies that manufactured and sold equipment for the logging, mining, and shipping industries. Housed indoors, there are endless rows of stalls that feature fresh produce, gourmet foods, baked goods, seafood, and numerous other commercial vendors. Now, you can experience the community of the Granville Public Market with a friendly local guide. You'll have a personal introduction to incredible foods and the passionate people behind them. You'll have the opportunity to savor 7 Canadian meats, enjoy farm-to-table dining at a Canadian bistro, and feast through the market sampling maple salmon candy, British Columbia cheeses, honey-dipped donuts, and much more. Apart from the food, Granville Island is home to 5 different theaters. In fact, Vancouver's performing arts scene is centered on Granville Island. With several professional and amateur theater and comedy companies, there is a live entertainment option on any given night. Next slide. The Capilano Suspension Bridge and its stunning location, a mere 20 minutes from downtown, have become an iconic Vancouver landmark with an estimated 1.2 million visitors a year. While there, appreciate nature from 3 breathtaking perspectives: Capilano Suspension Bridge, Treetops Adventure, and the exciting cliff walk. An interesting note, the weight capacity of the bridge, translated into animal weight, can hold 97 elephants, that's 203 moose, or 4,520 beavers. Next slide. Treetops Adventure takes guests 30 meters into the mid-story of a coastal rainforest on 7 suspension bridges attached to old-growth trees. Cliff Walk follows a granite precipice along the Capilano River on a labyrinth-like series of narrow bridges, stairs, and platforms through rainforest vegetation. With 16 anchor points in the cliff supporting the structure and 2 glass platforms, cliff walk is not for the faint of heart. Next slide. If you're looking to dine among the treetops, then look no further. The Cliff House restaurant pays homage to the original Cliff House that was built just a few feet away on the edge of Capilano Canyon in 1889. The first residence in Upper Capilano, it was built by George Grant Mackay, who also built the original Capilano Suspension Bridge. Celebrating their unique history, the interior is adorned with antiques and photos that highlight the park's historical past. Only available to guests of the Capilano Suspension Bridge Park, you can enjoy a locally inspired meal surrounded by lush greenery and the rushing waters of the Capilano River. Next slide. Offering some of the best views of the city is Grouse Mountain. It's a wildlife refuge, a ski hill, a theater, a place of outdoor adventure, and a dining destination all in one, and only 30 minutes from downtown Vancouver. You can access the mountaintop via round-trip sky ride. While offerings vary by season, during the summer months, you can enjoy scenic chair rides, the world's famous lumberjack shows, birds in motion demonstrations, guided eco walks, and refuge for endangered animals. In the winter months, enjoy endless snowshoe trails, family sliding zone, magical light walk, ice skating on their 8,000 square foot outdoor pond, and during December, enjoy their peak of Christmas holiday celebration. To refuel, Grouse Mountain dining options include a coffee bar, pastries, juice bar, barbecue, and even a 5-star restaurant with stunning views of the city. Next slide. For those looking for an enhanced experience, you can take part in Breakfast in the Bears, enjoy early access to the mountain, watch Grinder and Kula, Grouse Mountain resident bears, and learn all about grizzly bears from one of their experienced staff members before heading to a cafe for a breakfast buffet. During the summer months, Grouse Mountain also offers a sky ride surf adventure. Feel the wind on your face if you're brave enough as you ascend 2,800 feet from the lower terminal to the Peak Chalet on the rooftop of the Grouse Mountain Sky Ride. You'll be a part of a very small group accessing this special viewing platform. Next slide. What better way to get an overview of a destination than from above? For an aerial view of Vancouver and its sights, a seaplane tour is definitely the way to go. Choose between tours covering the Vancouver landmarks, snow-capped mountains and alpine lakes, escape by seaplane to a local island for a seaside dinner, or take part on what has been designated as a Canadian signature experience. Based on the mail delivery route of years past, the Mail Run Tour is a unique tour that lets you harbor hop from one picturesque coastal community to the next. Enjoy taking off and landing in quaint harbors like Maple Bay and a seaside village on Salt Spring Island. Next slide. There is no better way to get engaged in First Nations culture than to have a firsthand experience. Guests will gently paddle in the protected waters of the Burrard Inlet and the beautiful Indian Arm in replica ocean-going canoes, similar to those historically used. You'll gently paddle while guides from the Coast Salish Nation sing songs, tell legends, and point out ancient village sites. The launching point is only 30 minutes from downtown Vancouver, making it easily accessible. Next slide. Vancouver has plenty of property options in their downtown area, although most are 4 to 5 stars. One of the main highlight properties downtown is the Pan Pacific Vancouver. With option for water view room upgrades, you'll likely see the cruise ships coming to dock at Canada's Place and see the famous seaplanes landing and taking off in the harbor. A more budget-friendly option still in downtown Vancouver is the Hotel Belmont. It's a funky and young property located in the entertainment district, so be prepared for a loud evening as the area is alive with locals after sunset. Further out from downtown, you'll find more budget and group-friendly hotels in the Richmond area close to the airport. For example, the Pacific Gateway Hotel has a restaurant with beautiful waterfront views, and the Westin Wall Center, with its convenient airport shuttle, can also be found in Richmond. Next slide. Although not in Vancouver city limits, no visit to Vancouver would be complete without at least a day trip to Victoria, the capital city of British Columbia. Located on Vancouver Island, the city is small, with most of its attractions within walking distance to one another in the city center. If you're looking to fly, there are 4 different airline partners and it's only a 20-minute flight. However, The most common route is by ferry. BC Ferries offers hourly service in peak season and every 2 hours in the shoulder season. These ferries can accommodate over 2,000 passengers, as well as a mix of cars, trucks, and motor coaches. You'll find a variety of food outlets and shopping on board. Total ferry duration is 1 hour and 35 minutes. Keep in mind, the ferry location from Vancouver is a 45-minute drive, and the ferry location from Victoria is a 40-minute drive, totaling a 3-hour journey one way. Alternatively, you can combine the transfer with some sightseeing and make the journey via seaplane. It's a 40-minute flight from Vancouver to Victoria, along with some incredible views of the area. Next slide. Okay, so Victoria is close in proximity, but why visit? Well, one, the Pacific Ocean, old growth forests, lush gardens, magnificent mountains, sweeping views, and the mildest climate in Canada. Victoria is a spectacular city in every season. Two, Victoria is also internationally recognized for its exceptional service and warm hospitality. It's a relaxed island destination with all of the amenities of a big city. Three, the world-famous Bouchard Gardens, outdoor eco-adventure activities such as whale watching, kayaking, fishing, museums, art galleries, afternoon tea, unique shopping, and year-round golf. It's all here in Victoria all year long. Four, Victoria's talented chefs and the island cuisine they create have garnered Victoria and Vancouver Island a coveted place on the world culinary map. And lastly, Victoria is easily accessible from Vancouver. Moreover, it's a great walking city, ideal for group programs and individual exploring. Next slide. With Victoria being known as Garden City, no visit would be complete without a visit to Bouchard Gardens, located 30 minutes outside of Victoria. These internationally acclaimed floral display gardens and National Historic Site of Canada started over 100 years ago and remain privately owned by the same family. Jenny Bouchard wanted to make her husband's depleted limestone quarry look better, and the result is a sunken garden. Other gardens include the Rose Garden, the Japanese Garden, Concert Lawn Walk, Mediterranean Garden, and the Italian Garden. The gardens are meticulously maintained and provide a riot of color for much of the year. Open year-round, the gardens have something for every season, including ice skating in the wintertime. Next slide. Allow us to treat you to an exclusive experience customized by Destination America. Transformed from greenhouse to restaurant, the Blue Poppy restaurant overlooks Taka's Piazza. Enjoy a delicious breakfast buffet in the restaurant, followed by an exclusive time in the gardens prior to opening hours. You'll have the gardens to yourself until 9 a.m. when they open to the general public. You can please contact our sales executive, Joyce Chow, to see how you can add this experience to your Vancouver tour itinerary. Next slide. Located in downtown Vancouver, the Royal BC Museum is where you can experience British Columbia's intriguing history as you explore the natural and human history of BC and its First Peoples with unique displays and galleries. A notable section of the museum is Thunderbird Park. Established in 1914, the section is filled with totem poles from the province's First Nations. Today, the original totem poles have either been moved inside the museum to preserve them or given back to their communities and replaced with replicas crafted in the museum's on-site carving studio. New, as of April 16, 2021, is our Orcas, our shared future exhibit. Here, you'll follow the currents of ecological activism, popular culture, and Indigenous beliefs to gain a new appreciation of these sophisticated animals long feared as killer whales. Next slide. To get more up close and personal, whale watching is as much an activity out of Vancouver as it is out of Victoria. You can experience the majesty of the ocean and its wildlife, from whales surfacing in union to bald eagles soaring overhead, all while listening to the onboard marine mammal experts bringing the animal stories to life. Find comfort on board their semi-covered express cruiser with 3 different viewing areas. For those of us seeking a more thrilling experience, you can hop aboard for their Zodiac experience. This is an open-air vessel that will have you holding on to your seats as you cruise at 55 kilometers an hour. Next slide. I find that the best way to get to know a destination is by exploring and walking the area as well as cuisine. So in my opinion, food tours are an easy way to combine both. Enter Canada's oldest Chinatown through the Gate of Harmonious Interest, where you can shop for art, curios, and home furnishings. Stroll down Fantan Alley, North America's narrowest street. At its narrowest, it's only 9 meters wide. Once notorious for its many opium dens and gambling houses, Fantan Alley is now lined with quirky shops and restaurants. You can dive a little deeper into the oldest Chinatown in Canada and the second oldest in North America by taking a food tour. Enjoy local craft beer, fresh handmade tortillas, savory hand pies, locally roasted coffee, and so much more. Next slide. Steeped in British history, Victoria has been rich with tea culture since the 1840s, when the British first introduced the prestigious practice. In true Victorian style, this time-honored tradition is alive and well. While there are several places to do so, none quite like tea at the Fairmont Empress. Located in the Inner Harbor, where you'll find Victoria's most impressive buildings, the Fairmont Empress, known simply as the Empress, has become Victoria's most iconic hotel since opening its doors in 1908. Today, the Empress proudly serves freshly baked scones and tea pastries to more than 80,000 guests annually. During the summer months, the Empress serves more afternoon tea than most hotels in London. More than 400 people each day visit the Empress to indulge in a tradition that has been an important part of Victoria for more than 110 years. In fact, the Royal China collection used is a replica of the China pattern gifted to the Empress by King George VI and Queen Elizabeth in 1939. Next slide. While afternoon tea may be a well-known tradition in Victoria, Vancouver Island is quickly making a name for itself in the wine industry. Just north of Victoria, mild temperatures, fertile valleys, and expert vintners offer incredible varieties across the spectrum. You can enjoy award-winning wines, spectacular vineyard views, and perfect pairings with locally sourced fare. Next slide. As you can see, these 30 communities are only a short distance outside of Victoria and across the bay from Vancouver. Next slide. Specifically selected by Destination America for their award-winning ciders and history, there is no better place to experience a cider tasting on Vancouver Island. Upon arrival, our guests will be welcomed into the cider house, where they'll be given a brief overview while enjoying a panoramic orchard and ocean view. Each tasting will consist of 4 2-ounce pours of their best-selling craft ciders. Following the tasting, guests will be led by a lovely Sea Cider staff member for a walk around the cider house to showcase their tank room, where apple juice ferments and turns into hard cider. You'll also view their production, bottling, and labeling areas. Continuing along, guests will walk around the front of the cider house and view their orchard housing over 1,300 apple trees, all while learning about the different variety of apples that are used and the difference between cider apples and traditional apple trees. You can ask Joyce how you can include this in your Vancouver itinerary. Next slide. Settled in the 1860s, Bird's Eye Cove Farm is believed to be one of the oldest working farms in the region. Focused on mindful agriculture, all of their livestock is raised naturally and humanely. In 2012, they completed construction of what is affectionately known as the barn, a traditional hand-cut timber frame facility nestled into the stunning rolling fields of the 300-acre Bird's Eye Cove Farm. Here you'll find Highland cattle roam the pastures, grazing on the lush green grasses of Vancouver Island, chickens freely wandering and lazing in the warm valley sun. There's no place on earth quite like it, where memories are made and peace, tranquility, and nature can be found. The barn offers a place for community to gather, celebration to occur, and where people come to learn. It is here that Destination America has scouted as an unforgettable and exclusive lunch location. You'll learn about the farm and the family, all while enjoying fresh pizza with locally sourced ingredients from their own farm, made fresh on site in their wood-fired oven. If you're interested in adding this exclusive experience, please make sure to contact Joyce. Next slide. We've discussed the Fairmont Empress and their famous tea, so if you're looking for a luxury experience, this is the way to go. The Grand Pacific and Laurel Point are also great options along the harbor front. Next slide. Thank you all for having me, and I hope you all learned a little bit of Vancouver and Victoria and all of the wonderful activities that we can help you include in your programs. Back to you, Georgia.
Thank you so much, Maritza. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. We're so lucky to have both Maritza and Anina here to answer any questions that you may have regarding Vancouver or Canada travel, as well as our services. So I am monitoring the chat box. If anyone would like to put a question into the chat box, or you can use the raise hand signal on the GoToMeeting control bar. So we happy to answer any questions. But I have to say that I have a question for Anina, and that would simply be, we talked about so many great experiences today, Anina. If you had to pick one must see, must do in the Vancouver area, what would it be?
For me personally, it would be whale watching because they have not only migrating whales, but also pods that actually are residential. So the chance of seeing orcas up there is really, really high. And so I'm fascinated by that. And it's a really special place. I don't think there's a lot of places in the world where you have such a high chance to see them. And then second would be a seaplane tour. I think there's nothing like better than seeing a destination from above, and landing and starting in the water is just a really special experience.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And, I just want to give you guys an opportunity to ask any other questions that you may have of either Anina or Maritza about some of the great opportunities that we covered today. I know for myself, when Maritza was telling me about some of the awesome breakfast opportunities at Bouchard Gardens, as well as the really cool cider and farm tour, I really just, think that it was such an amazing description of the things that we can do. And that's really what Destination America specializes in. We are not here to give the average all around tour. Our value that we bring to you, our customers, is to create something unique and experiential that they're not going to be able to do on their own, to really set your brand and your travel itineraries apart from the competition. So just as Marisa said, if you saw anything on this webinar and you want more information, or you're interested in adding it to your itineraries, please do reach out to us. And since I don't see that there are any other questions, I just want to again say thank you. And if you should think of any questions, please do send an email either to myself or to Joyce, and we'll be happy to answer anything offline. So with that, thank you both so much for being here tonight, and thank you everyone for joining us. And we will see you guys next time. Have a great evening and a good day.